This is a story about how I finally learned a lesson in humility. I've never given as much credence to humility as I do in believing in yourself, so this is a long overdue lesson, and I'm happy to finally have it to share with you. My name is Alex if you're new to the channel, and I'm just here to share what I've learned, hopefully that it helps somebody who needs to hear this down the road. So, to set the scene, I expected to do everything I'm going to do in life with no help. From where I'm at now, getting to be all my goals. And the lesson was going to be, I did it and you can do it too. I still believe that. I still believe that I'm gonna get there, and I still believe that you'll be able to do it too, and I hope that I'm still an example of that. But I thought that I had to do that all by myself so that you can see what I did and know that if I did it without having resources, you can do it without having resources, because I know I have more resources than other people. But turns out I learned an even more valuable lesson straight away, and I'm so happy to have learned it this early in my life, and I'm happy to share with you now, because I think a lot of people are going to be able to benefit from this more than just seeing me do something on my own and say, oh, well, he can do that, he must have something special about him. It's not the case, not the point. Instead, now I have this lesson to share with you. So let me tell you this story. If you watch the channel at all, you know, in a pretty rough spot financially, and my family knows that I've been out of a job, so they've been asking me, how are you doing with money, and how do you need any help and stuff? And like I said, I don't want them to worry, and I don't want to put them out, so I wasn't asking for help. And I also didn't want to lie. So the most I would say was kind of, yeah, just hoping that I get a job soon, no big deal. And then I actually had a funny turning point. I was listening to a Drizzy song, Look What You've Done, and he has a line, I put all the money in your accounts back. And he's talking about his uncle. And it made me think, wow, if Drake was borrowing money, why can't I borrow money? You know, I know that he was probably younger than me doing that, but it doesn't really matter. And the point stays the same. So I told my parents my actual situation. They're letting me borrow some money that I'm going to pay back. And that's the result. But the real result is that I'm happy that I reached out to them, because I'd rather be humble and truthful than prideful and a liar. It's a pretty clear choice there. And these people, my family, were happy to help me. So the takeaway that I want to share with you is to never be afraid to ask for help. It's never a shameful thing to ask for help, and the people that love you would love to hear how they can help you. They're going to be glad that you ask for help when you need it. And I have a few points to make to hopefully drive home the point that it's not a bad thing to ask for help, and you should never be ashamed of it. So the first thing that I want to say is nobody does it alone. Even though some people have these great stories about how they come from nothing, some people come to mind. Tony Robbins was kicked out of his house. Iman Ghazi his mom didn't have money to even let him borrow, but they have these stories that make it look like that nobody helped them, but nobody did it alone. Everybody had a mother at some point. Everybody needed to be fed for most of their life. Even these two great men that I mentioned, Tony got a loan at that point in his life. Eman was still living with his mom. I'm not putting these people down whatsoever. I'm just doing it to show you that even when people that you think are doing it all alone, it's not the case. Anything that you have learned in your life, you've learned from somebody else, or you've learned from watching somebody else. So it's kind of foolish to think that anything we do is alone, and in that regard, should never be prideful, because it doesn't make any sense. Nobody does it alone. Even Jesus Christ got help when he was carrying the cross from Simon the Cyrene. If that isn't the best example, I don't know what is. Second point I want to make is that the people in your life want to help. My dad, when I told him the reality of my situation, he was happy to help, and he said, "This is what I'm here for." And obviously, he's so much more to me than that. But it put into perspective, yeah, if my kid was coming to me and needed help in anything, a big way or a small way, I would love to be there for them. That would be me feeling like I'm fulfilling my purpose to them in their life. And the same thing for friends too. That is what I'm here for. So people are going to be grateful that you ask them for help. And if you feel like you don't have anybody to turn to, there's always somebody. Ask somebody for help. If it seems like they're busy, tell them you need their help. If you feel like you really don't have anybody to ask, you can seek professional help. The most reliable way, something you can always do, is say a quick prayer, ask and ye shall receive. I know that's not the easiest for everybody, but in time it'll get easier. People are going to be grateful that you ask for help. I've heard horror stories of people finding out too late that their friends needed help, and every one of those stories is followed up with, "I wish they would have just told me and I could have helped them out." So please don't let that be you. Your family, your loved ones, your friends want to help you, and I'm praying for you. So if you need help, don't be afraid to ask for help. And the third point, you're gonna go further in life if you get help. Another way that I think about it is with a mentor. Follow somebody that's done it before. If you see somebody that's done something similar to your goals, even if it's not the exact same thing, you can follow what they did to get 90% of the way there in expedited time. And then from that point, you have the rest of your life to make not just your goal a reality, but do so much more with your life. And for this, I have an analogy. If you want to go somewhere, but you're too prideful to ask for a car, for a ride, or to buy a car, whatever you want to say. So instead, you decide to put together a car piece by piece, and you have to learn how each piece works and craft it yourself and get the tools. It's going to take you years before you even get on the road. When you do, you're going to have the crappiest, slowest car on the road. And what was it for? Just so you could say that you did it yourself? You know what I would rather say is, look at all the good that I've done because I was able to get there faster. Think about it not as what you're gonna have in your pride for not asking for help. Think about all the people that you'll be able to help now that you've made this happen. And now you have all this bandwidth in your life, and now you're in this position to help people. That's how wise people in history have made progress. You don't start at ground zero every time. You learn quickly what other people know, you get the help that you need, and then you're able to do so much more from that point. And as a bonus point, as a Christian, we are on the receiving end of the relationship. God gives us everything that we need. And receiving is actually a skill. Accepting the gifts that we get is a skill. I know it can be uncomfortable sometimes, but it's something worth learning. And you'll be surprised at how much of a difference it makes in your life when you do practice that skill a little bit more. I'm going to be making a video more about this soon, so when that is done, I will link that here. So just to bring it on home, I'm really making this video for anybody who needs help and they don't feel like they have anybody to ask, or they don't want to put people out. I just want to remind you, people love you, they want to help you, and implore you, please seek help. Be real with people. Say, I need help with this. I can't do it on alone. That's all. I love you all. Wish you the best, and God bless.